All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Malzberg panel, part one. And joining us on this hour's panel, columnist for Breitbart.com, an American thinker, C. Edmund Wright, of course, also the author of WTF, How Karl Rove and the Establishment Lost Again. And we welcome aboard for the first time New York State Attorney and Government Relations Strategist, Brad Gerstman. Gentlemen, to both of you, earlier in the show, we had General Michael Hayden on talking about this. The Federal Appeals Court today reviving a challenge by the ACLU to the NSA's program that, collected data on millions and millions of Americans and their phone calls. What do you say, Edmund? I mean, it just seems, I know, the line between our privacy and our protection, but it just seems that every day the threats grow, and to put this kind of program on the back burner and do away with it completely, I think would be a mistake.
Yeah, well, Steve, this is a little bit of an interesting issue for those reasons. I mean, for example, there's a wing of what you would call the Tea Party movement, the libertarian wing, that would probably join the ACLU in celebrating this, this decision. On the other hand, the national security type Tea Party types would probably agree with your past statement. But this comes to how important it is to elect a president and elect members of Congress who actually love America. And I think in 2008 and 2012, we didn't do that. And so I look at this under someone like George W. Bush, with whom I had many reservations. I still look at this differently than I do under the Obama administration. I just do.
Yeah. And
wait. I have to jump in on this. If you look at Obama, okay, over the past number of years, during the entirety of his administration, he's been the individual, he's been the administration that's been collecting all this data. Now, I don't believe in what he's doing. I'm a Democrat, but I don't exactly believe. I think we should be limiting the role of government in our lives in terms of compiling data, holding the data, holding voice recordings, holding the information that's coming off of our internet and web searches and emails. But to point to Obama as the person who doesn't love America because he's trying to let the terrorists come in and invade our lovely society, that's completely off. Because he's the one who's out there looking for this information. He's the one who's directing the FBI, the CIA, those to pursue all this.
Well, I mean, but I don't think they're mutually. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I don't think that you're getting a lot of other information on a lot of average Americans that don't necessarily relate to terrorism in any way, shape, or form. And I think that might be Edmund's concern. But also, gentlemen, the Patriot Act is many provisions are going to sunset unless they're renewed. So I mean, Edmund, I just think you can't let that fade away.
No, and again, this is one of those issues where, my national defense, pro-American, red-blooded patriotism is on one hand, and my sort of libertarian suspicion of big government is on the other. Steve, this is just one of those things where we live in a complex world, and this is a complex situation.
Right, Brad, I want to finish up with Brad in this segment. We got 30 seconds. Where do you stand on renewal of the Patriot Act provisions?
I think we have to renew the Patriot Act provisions, but I think we need to have a strong oversight of what exactly are we compiling, what information, where are we using wiretaps without warrants that are unnecessary, making sure that there is specific and real oversight over what our government is doing to the average American every day.
All right, guys, part two of the panel coming up next, and we're going to take a look at Hillary, another flip-flop, one of many. We'll talk about it. Don't go away.
We've got to do several things, and I am, adamantly against illegal immigrants. I made this exception basically on humanitarian grounds because of the individual stories, but certainly we've got to do more at our borders, and people have to stop employing illegal immigrants. Come up to Westchester, go to Suffolk and Nassau counties, stand in the street corners in Brooklyn or the Bronx. You're going to see loads of people waiting to get picked up to go do yard work and construction work and domestic work.
Yeah, she don't like those darn illegals. That was back in 2003. And, of course, we've heard the flip-flop that she doesn't really think Barack Obama's executive order, which many believe to be unconstitutional and illegal, goes far enough. And if she's president, she will make sure that it goes further. But that was then, this is now. And now we don't have to go back to 2003 as we are rejoined by C. Edmund Wright and by attorney Brad Gerstman. We only have to go back about a week or so. Hillary was speaking out against, big money in politics, calling for campaign finance overhaul. But in typical Hillary fashion, now she met with the people who are putting together a super PAC, big donors. She met with them in California. So I'll ask you, Brad, who's the real Hillary here?
Well, look, Hillary's doing what she is entitled to do under the law. She's saying, let's change the law. Let's look at Citizens United. Let's make a change. But until that change is implemented, until there's something that comes up and Congress would have to do it, we will see no changes. And as a result, she shouldn't just lay down and decide that she's not going to win this presidency. She has to go out and raise a whole heck of a lot of money. We know on the Republican side, it's the battle of the billionaires.
Well, it's a battle of the billionaires. You got plenty of billionaires, Tom Steyer and others on the and George Soros and others. Please, they're not billionaires who contribute millions and billions to Democrats.
Not nearly as much as Sheldon Adelstein. And the fact that everyone has to have his.
Go ahead, Edmund. What about it, Edmund?
Look. I do some work for some super PACs. I wish the Republican super PACs were funded as well as the Democrat super PACs. Most of the uber wealthy in this country, generally getting there through some government connections, are Democrats. This is an upside down world from what it maybe was 30 years ago. But, if she wants to get the unaccountable money out of politics, I think we need to find the emails related to the Clinton Foundation.
Look, she is doing what she's entitled to do. And what any Democrat or anybody should do is to go out and fundraise and spread the message by using the money.
What I'm entitled to do, which is call her a hypocrite for doing it.
Well, that's free speech. We're all entitled. Thank God. Thank God for the Constitution.
All right, now let's move on. Speaking of the Constitution, same-sex marriage, is an issue before the Supreme Court right now, and there are many who think, Edmund, that if the Supreme Court approves same-sex marriage, that religious colleges, among other religious institutions, I believe, but specifically here, religious colleges, may be at risk.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what the administration attorney indicated might well be the case in questioning under Judge Alito at the hearing on the same-sex marriage, back on the court last week. So, I think that this is a big danger here. And remember, Hillary Clinton said 3 or 4 days ago that religious beliefs must be changed. I'm sorry, I thought religious beliefs were permanent bedrock kind of beliefs, but I guess when you're a moral relativist, that goes by the board. Yeah,
and what Edmund is referring to, as I'm sure you know, Brad, but some may not, is that during the questioning, Sam Alito asked the attorney for the same-sex marriage, the Solicitor General, if that the court rules in his favor, would religious institutions, religious colleges lose their tax-exempt status if they continued to advocate for traditional marriage only? And he said, I don't deny that. It's going to be an issue. Are we really going to head down that road in this country, in that kind of attack on religious freedom?
Wait. Let's first begin. The case is about the right to marry whoever you choose, okay? It is not about tax exemption for religious colleges.
Well, wait a minute. So that's the government's. But wait a minute, Brad. Wait, one at a time. Brad, you say that, but the attorney arguing the case for the gay marriage admitted that would be an issue. So how could you say it's not?
It is a red herring. The government attorney answered, like a lot of attorneys under these circumstances, in a way that I don't think was totally well thought out. This has nothing to do with that. Will it ever become an issue? Yeah, it possibly become an issue. But at the end of the day, this is not a ruling that is going to be looked at as a very far-reaching ruling. This is going to be a very narrowly tailored ruling by the Supreme Court.
All right, Edmund, 10 seconds. Last word. Go ahead.
I need to send Brad the shortest book in the world, Gay Abolitionists, The Next Generation. anyway, just a little levity there.
All right, guys. Well, I thank you both. Brad, look forward to having you back. And Edmund, to you too, of course. Up next, folks, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso on Obamacare. Don't go away.